Hello, my name is Colleen Conlon. I am so excited to be here on kettlebell workout videos for a new collaboration series that we are doing together called The Golden Standard. Now, if this is your first time meeting me, I want to give you a little bit of a background. So I am a virtual hardstyle kettlebell coach. My association is through RKC. So when it comes to teaching you different things about kettlebells, that is going to be the school of thought that we are using. I am also a Guinness World Record holder in the Turkish getup, and I am the published author of Kettlebell Catalyst. And I have a lot of gold to share with you in this series. You know, regardless of if you have goals when it comes to kettlebells regarding aesthetics or performance or longevity, the one thing that we need to make sure we're following is some type of a progressive training program. But before that, we need to ensure that we have solid form. Number one, that we're safe in our form, and number two, that we are efficient with our form. And that is really what this series is about. So what will happen starting today and going on for at least the next month is I will be breaking down different beginner-friendly exercises that, there's some nuance to where maybe, we're getting a lot of really good information within, a reel or a 5-minute tutorial, but there is still just like so much more to talk about. And I want to talk about that stuff with you within our time together. And today, our first order of business is learning how to deadlift a kettlebell. So, we're gonna get ready to dive in. Now, when it comes to the deadlift, what I want you to keep in mind is this is the exercise that is going to be our foundational pattern if we want to swing a kettlebell, if we want to single arm swing a kettlebell, if we want to snatch a kettlebell, if we want to do single arm deadlifts with a kettlebell. Everything is going to start from your deadlift. Now, before we even talk about doing the deadlift, we need to get comfortable with what creating tension in our body is. We need to get comfortable with understanding how do we breathe in this exercise, and then we'll continue to progress from there. Expect to be with me for at least 30 minutes. Yeah, there's like that much information that we're gonna cover just for this one exercise. Here's what I would love to encourage you to do. Grab a towel, grab a hand towel, have that on standby. If you can participate with me live right now, take your shoes off. If you can't be live doing this, definitely come back later. You can save it, take off your shoes then. But I want to give you an opportunity. Go grab a towel, I'll hang out, and then we're going to dive in, okay? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so when it comes to creating tension, we need something called total body tension. And the idea behind this is if I can make my body tense, I'm gonna have more control. And believe it or not, it's actually gonna make whatever I'm lifting, like a kettlebell, feel lighter than it is. So what I want you to do is take your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance. And I want you to just stand here as you would normally stand. Don't think twice about it. And just notice, what do you feel? And I'll tell you, I don't really feel anything. I'm just standing, right? But now try this for me. Press your big toes and your pinky toes into the floor. Rip the ground apart as aggressively as you can. Start to notice, what do I feel in the arches of my feet? Start to notice, what do I feel in the fronts of my thighs, the sides of my thighs, the backs of my thighs. And then I want you to imagine that you are wearing a belt, and there's a big belt buckle on the front. And I want you to try to tip that belt buckle up towards the ceiling. And then start to notice, what do you feel in your glutes? Hang out here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Okay, what do you feel? All of those muscles beginning to engage, that is you creating tension throughout your lower body. When we are performing any of these kettlebell exercises, but specifically today, our deadlift, we need to create that kind of total body tension the entire time. Now, the next piece of the puzzle is creating upper body tension. So that towel that I asked you to get, pull that out. Now, creating upper body tension, I will tell you from my coaching experience, this is a harder thing for people to get who haven't spent a tremendous amount of time engaging their lats. So I find people who are already familiar with doing things like pull-ups will have an easier time with this piece. And if that's not you right now, that's okay. You will get really good at this as I bring your awareness to it. Might not be super strong today. It will be stronger every time you practice them. So here's what's gonna happen. You can keep your legs relaxed. You're gonna hold on to your hand towel. Your hands are tight together. You're gonna pull your shoulders down. Pull your shoulders back. Now try to rip the towel apart as aggressively as you can. You're here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, shake it out. Okay, what did you feel? What do you notice? And if you're kind of thinking to yourself, like, I don't really know what I noticed, let's try it again. And the places I want you to bring your brain to, right back behind the armpit. Notice what's going on in this area, okay? All right, let's try it again. My hands are close together. I actively drive my shoulders down. I drive my shoulders back. I try to rip the towel apart. You can even think about squeezing your armpit shut. Hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake it out. Okay. That tension is what we're gonna need throughout the entirety of the deadlift. I would say for those of you who are brand new to lifting, a lot of the stuff that we do to progress, you don't always see the energy that it's taking. Like just creating this total body tension right now, it doesn't really look like a lot, but if you're actually practicing it, you can feel like the energy it's requiring from you. And then when we pair that with the movement, that's where it's like, woo, we got a lot going on. So anyways, let's pair both of those pieces together now. So we're gonna create our lower body tension, we're gonna create our upper body tension, and just hang out for 10 seconds, and then we'll move on to talking about breathing, okay? All right, let's start with the lower body. Take your feet hip width distance apart, press the toes down, big toe, pinky toe, press down. I rip the ground apart with my feet. My knees are soft. I tip my belt buckle up. I can feel tension throughout my legs, throughout my glutes. I can feel my toes pressing down. Everything is active. Shoulders down, shoulders back. Rip the towel apart. Notice what you feel behind the armpits. You're here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Okay. So we have the tension piece. Now, if this is the first time you are learning about total body tension, I want to remind you it is something that you have to practice to get good at. And if you want the practice homework, once this is published, you're gonna comment gold and I'm gonna give you what you need to practice. But for now, let's put that off to the side. Let's talk about breath. So when it comes to lifting, there's some different breathing techniques. When it comes to beginning your kettlebell journey, here's the information that you need right now. We want to breathe from our diaphragm. So I want you to take a second. If you're near a mirror, if you're near a window, watch this on yourself and just notice when I breathe, what happens. And I'm going to let you watch me breathe for a couple of breaths so you can notice what's going on. Not a whole lot, right? Now go watch yourself. And then when you come back to the screen, I'm going to demo what I see in a lot of people who are not aware of their breathing. Okay, what's very common, and I'm not saying that this is what's happening with you right now, what's very common is this. Look at my chest. And I'm over-exaggerating it, but do you see how my chest is lifting up? When we're lifting these kettlebells, we don't want that to happen. Instead, we want to breathe from our diaphragm. And that's going to be a muscle right underneath your ribs. And what we want to happen instead is for the chest to stay relaxed. We're going to take a deep breath in. We should feel our rib cage expand. Let me show you. And when the rib cage expands, we don't just want it to be forwards and backwards, we also want it from the side. So just looking at it from the side. So when I ask you to take a deep breath, that's what we're looking for. Chest stays relaxed, rib cage expands, okay? Now, when it comes to hard-style kettlebell exercises, we have two different categories for the majority of the exercises. We have grinds and we have ballistics. A ballistic is going to be something that happens very fast, like a swing, like a snatch. It gets a very short, crisp exhale. It sounds kind of like this. And when it comes to our grinds, we take a longer exhale, and it's going to sound like this. Now, the whole idea behind this breath is that it is creating pressure throughout our thoracic cavity to help us engage our abs and to help us keep our low back safe when we are lifting. So I want to practice that breath with you a couple of times that we will end up using in our deadlift today. So let me demo it for you again. What's going to happen, we'll take that deep belly breath. Our ribs are going to expand. You're going to hear me hissing like a snake. The sound specifically that I am making is TST. It sounds like a hiss. The tip of my tongue is right behind the lower level of my teeth. Okay? If you have an animal near you, if you have a person near you, and they're just like, what are you doing? You're doing it right. This should be relatively loud. And we're gonna try it a couple times. I'm gonna bring your awareness to the different pieces, but right now, just try it, okay? And then we'll talk. So, looking at yourself in a reflection of the mirror, of a window, or you can just feel for it. Take a deep breath in. You're gonna exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Okay, what did you notice? All right, we're gonna do it again. But before we do it again, I want you to watch me and I want you to watch my abdominals, okay? So right now, take a deep belly breath in. I'm sorry, don't take a deep belly breath in. Watch me, and then you're gonna go. I take my breath in. Do you see how my stomach starts to contract? That's what I want you to bring your awareness to on this next pass. As you exhale, what do you feel in terms of the contraction throughout your abdominals? You with me? Okay. Take a breath in. Take a breath in for a count of 3. Exhale for a count of 5. Here we go. Deep breath in for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Okay. What do you feel in your abdominals? If it feels kind of like you're taking a punch to the stomach, you're doing it right. Now, one other thing I will say before we do one final practice round is we want this to feel very even. So what I mean by that is as I exhale, it's the same pressure. It's the same volume throughout. Listen for it again. Versus what we don't want is something like this. See how it's like kind of all over the place? We want a clean line, okay? Let's try it one more time. Breathe in for a count of 3. Exhale for a count of 5. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, relax. What do you feel? What do you notice? If it feels kind of like this, you're doing it right. And I promise you, it's just one of the pieces of being a beginner. The more you practice this kind of stuff, it just gets ingrained in what it is you are doing. But now what we are going to do is move on. I want to put the tension and the breath together for one pass, and then we'll talk specifics about the deadlift itself. So grab your towel. I'm going to set you up, creating your total body tension. We'll take an inhale for a count of 3, an exhale for a count of 5. My feet are hip width distance apart. I press my big toes and my pinky toes down. I rip the floor apart with my feet. Knees are soft. Belt buckle is tipped up. I can feel my glutes. I can feel my lower abdominals. I pull my shoulders down, shoulders back. I rip the towel apart as I squeeze my armpit shut. Here we go. Take a deep belly breath in for 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, shake it out. Nice. So, when we are moving through the deadlift, we have our tension. When I talk about your breath, that's what needs to happen. You with me so far? Yeah? Okay. So, I want to demonstrate the deadlift for you, and then we will break it down a little bit further. But let's just make sure we are on the same page. Okay, that's what we're working on. So when it comes to the deadlift, we have 2 positions that we're trying to hit. We want to hit our hip hinge, which is this position right here. And then we want to hit standing. So let's talk about both of those positions. When I'm in my hip hinge, I want my feet to be hip width distance apart. For some of you, it's going to feel a little bit more comfortable to be a little bit wider. Ideally, our feet are parallel. For some of you, it will feel a little bit more comfortable to turn your toes slightly outward. Any of it is fine, especially for right now as we're beginning the journey. From there, I want the horn of the kettlebell, this is the horn, to be in line with my ankle bones. Okay? Not to be confused with the arches of my feet or the toes. I want it right in line with my ankle bones. Reason being, right in between my legs, my ankle bones is the center of my mass. So the closer I can keep the weight to the center of mass, the less likely I'm going to feel any fatigue on my low back. Okay? So, horns are in line with my ankle bones, and now I need to find my hip hinge. So the way I like to describe this is, have you ever gone to a dance club? Or like a school dance? Or just anything where it's just like bops are on and we are getting fun on the dance floor? Your deadlift is very much like backing it up or getting ready to twerk. It is. That's the way I like to describe it, especially if it's kind of like a hard thing for you to feel. So I want you to literally think, I'm gonna slide my hands down my thighs like I'm getting ready to back it up. And just in this position alone, notice what you feel back behind your thighs. These are your hamstrings. There should be this slight stretch reflex that you feel when you send your hips back and you try to twerk your butt. So before we were talking about when I'm creating my total body tension, I'm tipping my belt buckle up. This is referred to as a posterior pelvic tilt. When we are at the bottom of our deadlift, we want to do something called an anterior pelvic tilt, which is when we are tipping the belt buckle instead of up, we're dropping it down. I think just calling it a twerk is a lot more fun to remember. Anyways, we're gonna find that twerk. And we know we have it if we can feel that slight stretch reflex in our hamstrings. From here, we need to make sure our shoulders are staying higher than our hips and our hips are higher than our knees as we hold on to the kettlebell. So if you look at my position right here, this is correct. But let me tell you this. This is also correct. This is also correct. There's a little bit of wiggle room. And depending on your limb length, depending on your torso length, you're gonna have a little bit of wiggle room to play with. But the rule of thumb is I need shoulders higher than hips, hips higher than my knees. And I need my knees in line, if not slightly behind the balls of my feet, to make sure I continue to feel my hamstrings. Because try this for me. If your knees start to dart forward, what do you feel differently? It's not going to be your hamstrings anymore, it's going to be your quads. And when we're doing a deadlift, that's not what we're going after. If we were squatting, that would be more so what we're going after. When we are doing our deadlift, primarily, we want glutes, we want hamstrings, we want lats, we want core, okay? So, I find my torque, I find my hip hinge. The other way you can think of this is like Pac-Man's mouth. Okay. So from here, now I need to create that total body tension. So I'm pressing my toes into the ground, ripping the floor apart. And as I get ready to stand up, I hit my second position, which is right here, where we were when we started to learn about tension. Now, the big thing to keep in mind when we are at this second position is I want to be in a straight line. I want to tip my belt buckle up so I can feel lower abs. I want to pull my ribs down so I feel upper abs. And then I'm just pulling shoulders down, back, armpit shut, and I'm in this straight line. Now something to notice, this is very common for those who are learning to deadlift on their own, is we start to arch. And it's rarely like a crazy over-exaggeration. It's typically like just a little bit too far back. And when you do that repeatedly, it's going to make other patterns where we need more abdominal engagement harder. So I want to bring your awareness to that right out the gate. When I get to the top, I'm creating my tension, that belt buckle is up, my ribs are pulled down so I can feel my abs as I'm standing here. Make sense? Okay. So, when it comes to going back down, what leads first matters. So what I mean by that is as I lower down, if I'm going to twerk, I'm going to send my hips back and then my knees are going to bend. Let me watch this a couple times. Hips, 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 and then my knees start to follow. Hips, 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 then my knees start to follow. Versus knees and then butt. Knees and then butt. I don't see that a lot, but I do see that occasionally for people beginning. So just putting it out there, hips lead, and then your knees follow. And that will be the same thing when it comes to swinging the kettlebell, single arm swinging the kettlebell, cleaning the kettlebell, snatching the kettlebell. Hips, and then knees, okay? All right, so let's see if we can put all of that together. Before we actually use the kettlebell, can you just go through the pathway and finding the right alignment with me? Yeah? Okay. So get your kettlebell in between your ankle bones. Again, I want the horn in between my ankle bones. I'm going to back it up. I want to find that slight stretch reflex in my hamstrings. I'm going to reach down towards the kettlebell. I'm finding the tension throughout my lower body. And I'm doing that by pressing my toes down, ripping the ground apart. I'm pulling my shoulders down, back, squeezing my armpit shut. And then one thing we haven't talked about yet is your neck. I want a neutral neck. I'm not looking straight ahead. I'm not tucking my chin. It's just neutral. Okay. From here, just notice what you're feeling, what muscles are talking to you. Hang out here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest. If you've never been there before, it can feel like a lot. But can you just call out for yourself right now, what muscles do you feel? And if you don't know the name of the muscle, you can point to the area of the body. When I'm down in that position, when I'm creating my tension, I feel my hamstrings, slight stretch. I feel my glutes loading. I feel a little in my quad. It's not to say there's nothing in the quad, and if you're hanging out down there low for long, you will feel them. But we need to make sure we always have this stretch reflex in the hamstrings. I can feel the tension in my lats. And I would say like that's the main stuff that we're looking for. All right, so now let's get into that starting position. Let's get to our standing position, and you're on the lookout for your abs at the top. All right, shoulders higher than hips, hips higher than my knees, pressing my toes down, ripping the ground apart. No kettlebell, just body weight. Stand straight up. Tip your belt buckle up, pull your ribs down. Can you feel lower and upper abs contracting? If you can, you're doing it right. From here, push my hips back. Find my twerk. And then my hands touch the kettlebell at the bottom. Can you try that 3 times? Try it at your own pace. And just notice what you feel. Remember, when it comes to making progress, if the goal is aesthetics, performance, longevity, the form has to be on point. Otherwise, we hit a ceiling, a pretty low ceiling, or worse, we get hurt. We don't want that to happen. So take the time, focus on these pieces, you will go so far. I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds. And then this time, let's see if we can pair it with the breath. All right, so I go, you go. Watch me. Body weight still. Shoulders higher than hips, hips higher than my knees, pressing my toes down, ripping the ground apart. Shoulders down, shoulders back, armpit shut. Deep belly breath in. Exhale. Belt buckle up, ribs down. Inhale, lower down. Okay, you go. You exhale as you stand. You inhale as you lower. Exhale as you stand. Inhale as you lower. Okay, now I'm going to put this out there. If you are feeling dizzy or lightheaded, there's too much pressure on your breath. It needs to be intense enough that you can feel the abs contract, but not so intense that you feel like your head is going to explode. Okay, so now let's practice. And we're right at the top of 30 minutes. I told you this stuff, it takes time when we're like really trying to break it down. Okay, I go, you go. I press my toes down, I'm ripping the ground apart. I'm finding my tension right out the gate. Kettlebells in between my ankle bones. I find my twerk. Shoulders down, shoulders back. Deep belly breath in. Big exhale. Belt buckle is tipped up. Ribs are pulled down. I can feel my abdominals. I inhale as I lower right. right back in between my ankle bones. I can feel my hamstrings at the bottom. I'm gonna do one more. Okay, your turn. Here's what I want you to do. We're gonna do 3 passes. You're gonna aim for 3 reps. First time you do this, just do your best. It's your first time doing this, or at least your first time with me. Just see how it feels, and then I will give you some more specific things to think about in the passes to come. All right, feet are hip width distance apart. Find your hip hinge. Maybe you find the torque. Shoulders higher than hips, hips higher than your knees. You can feel that stretch reflex in your hamstrings. Shoulders down, shoulders back, armpits tightly shut. Deep belly breath in. Exhale as you stand. Find the abs at the top. Inhale as you lower. 3. What do you feel? What do you notice? Gorgeous. Okay. Once you hit those 3 reps, take a second, shake it out. And again, just notice what you feel. When we're doing this exercise, again, muscles that we want to primarily feel: glutes, hamstring, lats, abs. If you're feeling those areas, I want you to take it as a sign you're on the right page. If we're feeling other stuff, and specifically what I want to call out, if you're feeling a lot in your quads, it's possible that as you're here at the bottom, you just need to straighten out your knees a little bit more and sit a little bit more weight back into your heels. Now, if doing that makes you feel like you're gonna fall over, you need to rip the ground apart more aggressively to create that tension so that you do stay down. If you're feeling anything going on in your low back, there's a good chance that we are not squeezing our armpits shut tight enough. So in that case, that's what you want to focus in on for the next pass. Let's give it another go. Okay, 3 reps. Find your hip hinge. Shoulders higher than your hips, hips higher than your knees. You can feel that slight stretch reflex in your hamstrings. Kettlebells right in between your ankle bones. Take a deep belly breath in. Big exhale as you stand. Inhale as you lower. As you get to the top, belt buckle tips up. You can feel lower and upper abdominals. Nice. Okay, relax, shake it out. How did that feel? What did you notice? Was anything different? We're gonna do one more pass. If you're feeling the right muscles, again, great. If you made an adjustment in terms of maybe feeling too much in the quads or maybe feeling something in the low back, if those adjustments helped you, fantastic. If not, you can reach out to me separately in the DMs on my personal page. We can talk there. On this last pass, I want to bring the awareness back to your breath. By the end of this pass, I want you to be able to confirm for yourself, I hear my breath. I know I'm breathing. Okay? All right, last time. Find your setup. Kettlebell is in between ankle bones, not your arches, not your toes, your ankle bones. Shoulders higher than hips, hips higher than your knees. Shoulders down, shoulders back, armpits tightly shut. Deep belly breath in. Exhale as you stand. Feel the abdominals contracting at the top. Inhale as you lower. Exhale as you stand. What do you feel? What do you hear? Awesome. Okay, you are done. Great job. So I want to remind you, this is a series that we are going to be doing for at least, we have it set for at least the next month. So if you are interested in coming back every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, come on in. We're going to continue to break down the basics. Next week, I believe we're going to go over the goblet squat. So if you are interested, put it on your calendar. And if you can't make it live, just come over to the Kettlebell workout video page where you can follow me. My handle is I am Colleen Conlon. If you comment the word gold below on this video and you follow me, you will get a link sent to your DMs to make sure you always get a copy of the recording as well as some homework to help you drill the skill week to week. So I hope to see you next week. If you have any questions, if you want to connect with me, get on over to my page. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to bring up. If you are interested in learning how to progress in these skills and connect with other people who are trying to do the same thing, I have a brand new Discord where I am trying to bring those people together to have the support and the community. So if you are interested in being a part of that, again, comment gold once this is saved and you'll get all of that information. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.